way it is, and I can sit in the swivelly chair. All right, well, let's do it. Ready? All right. How are you going to pass my final? You're going to study. You're going to study. All right? Now, in case I didn't tell you guys from the beginning, you guys suck at studying. Because you're in a very, very good school, and most of you did very well in high school with very little effort. Okay? I know I raised a couple of those kids. Now you came to a institution where you have to study, and you do not have the habits to be good students and good study habits. So we're way deep into this, and you need to figure out what you need to do. So I'm going to give you some tips. You need to understand and review medical terminology. I'm going to guarantee you that most of the questions on the exam that are going to be difficult to you are going to be because there is some type of medical terminology or verbiage that we use in the medical community that is going to confuse you. Okay? Whether it's the question itself or one or all four of the answers. Okay? Is this thing on? Is this thing on? I have my shoes and my glasses. I thought it was working. All right? So examples: hypoxia, hypoperfusion, tachycardia, and bradycardia. Proximal, distal, auscultate. These are all the things that. Is it the microphone just started working? These are all of the medical terms that you need to be familiar with, that you're going to see over and over again. Okay? Safety. Safety. I'm going to guarantee you that there is going to be numerous questions on the final exam and on the state exam that are going to revolve around your safety. I've been talking about this since day one, right? If you see a question comes up and they give you a paragraph type question that says that there's all kind of bad stuff happening, pterodactyls are flying out of space, there's all kinds of things, and it said, what should you do as an EMT? You better find the one that has to do with safety, removing yourself to an area of safety, doing something involving your safety. Safety is the answer. Okay? Are we good with that? Yes. Does everybody remember the different levels of training? Yes. I would know that New York State sometimes uses different terminology than AAOS and the guys that write the book. So EMT Intermediate is also known as Advanced EMT. EMT Basic is also known as just EMT, and the CFR is also known as the EMR, Emergency Medical Responder. I believe your book is written with both terms. One of them is in parentheses like I put it, but New York State is different. So what you may see on next week's final may be a little bit different on what they may write on the state exam the week after. All right? Look over the EMT roles and responsibilities. That's a list of several things that you are responsible for as an EMT. I would review them. Okay? A lot of this stuff you can find in the little book that I told you to study. But if you want to make sure that you cover all your bases, anything that you're looking at in the little book, you should be going back to the big book and reviewing it there. Okay? I would know medical direction, online versus offline. I would understand the difference between the two and know the terminology of offline medical control in regards to protocols and standing orders. Okay? I'm not telling you to go and study the protocols. I need you to know that there are protocols and there are standing orders for certain things, and other things there are not, and in those cases you can call the doctor, and that would be online medical control. All right? EMT safety and wellness, all right? Again, part of the introduction chapters in the beginning it talks about stress. I would have an understanding of stress, how it affects the EMT, what are the different manifestation signs that you would see, like your loss of interest in this, loss of interest in that. You starts to drink more, starts to miss work, starts to have sleeping difficulties. These are all signs of stress. So you may want to be familiar with them. You also want to be familiar with CISM process, Critical Incident Stress Management. They also use the term Critical Incident Stress Debriefing. That term is going away. CISM is the one that we're using now, but that's not to say that you may not see either one of those terms. All right? All the stuff is in your book. Infectious diseases, there are several types that I would want you to become familiar with. I'm not going to go into detail, but how you protect yourself, the different levels of PPE, not the different levels, but you put gloves on, you could also put on a gown, goggles, face shield, along that line, all covered in your book. Work-related injuries and lifting and moving, okay? How EMTs get hurt and how are we supposed to lift and move patients. The different techniques that we have, like the power grip and the power lift, and then the different types of equipment that we have. Scoop stretcher, longboard, stair chair, all those different pieces of equipment, all right? One of the test questions that I remember from the last New York State exam, and I don't know if it may be something that you may see on the final exam, is if you are in a narrow area, like let's say something like a mobile home, which device would be better for you to move a patient with? What?
Backboard.
Not a backboard.
Stretcher.
You're in a narrow area, something like, let's say, like a mobile home, very narrow. Does anybody remember we brought that orange thing out? Remember we brought a couple of them here? What's it called? The orange thing known as a Reeves roll stretcher. You win the day. You win a bag of M&Ms. Good. Now, what about if we have to move a patient over rough terrain? What device should you use? Anybody remember the Stokes basket? Right? Stokes basket. I would review that. Review the different types of patient moving equipment. Okay? This is a big one right here. Consent. Different types of consent. Understand informed and expressed consent as opposed to implied consent, and how they affect how the EMT does his business or her business, and then what the difference is with minors, right? So are you guys considered minors? No. You guys are considered what? Not adults, you guys are considered what?
Preteens.
You are, if you have a military ID card and you're no longer living with mom, you're an emancipated minor. Okay? You're a member of the military. If you are if you are under 18 years of age and you are raising a child, you are considered an emancipated minor and you will be treated as an adult. Okay? So look in your book, it gives you a better definition of that. If I am saying something that you do not remember, then this is stuff that you need to be studying. Okay? But I would know my different consents. I'm going to guarantee you that there's going to be at least 2 consent questions regarding, and it's a situational question. So the situational question will be, you come on the scene and you have XYZ type of patient, and the patient is exhibiting these signs and symptoms. Under what type of consent are you going to treat them? You know? And you have to figure it out. You have to know what you have to know. All right? RMA's refusal of care. We talked about them several times during the course. All right? Know the procedures, know the rights and responsibilities of the EMT, and know the proper documentation. Okay? HIPAA laws and patient confidentiality. They always throw a question in there regarding patient confidentiality. All right? Advanced directives, the one that we're the most concerned with is a DNR. If you go to the scene of somebody and they have a healthcare proxy, are we going to follow it?
Yes.
No.
If they have a living will, are we going to follow it? What's the only one we're going to follow? DNR. I don't care what the family comes charging you with, unless it's a do not resuscitate order, ignore it. Okay? Remember that the EMT scope of practice is defined by state law. All right? The scope of practice is defined by state law, amongst other things, but it's defined by state law. The state tells you what you can and cannot do as an EMT.